Hey everybody, Ben here at Queen City Clay, and a lot of people ask about the different brands of kilns that we sell and use as potters, and I wanted to break down a really quick description of what the different kilns are and what they're great at. All right, so this is a Scott kiln. You know it by the red box, and Scott is a fantastic company, and we have sold their kilns for a long time. These kilns are just great general kilns. The customer service at Scott is absolutely amazing, just wonderful people. And these are really easy to work on. The hinged box makes it very easy to swivel and get access to where the elements are connected to the box. Thermocouple switch outs are very fast, and in general they're just easy to work on, but you do have to pin all of the elements in when you switch them, and there are crimp connectors in there, so you have to cut the element when you switch it out. All right, and so if you make a mistake, you're putting in a brand new element if you accidentally snip it, okay? But in general, these do everything. They're very user-friendly and just great kilns all around, very efficient, okay? Now if we come down here, this is an L&L kiln, and you can see the box setup is different. It's a little more difficult to get into the box to do some of the work, but there are a couple of great benefits with L&Ls too. They have element chambers inside, so their elements are not pinned, they are actually just pushed into these chambers, and so when you do an element switch out, it's much quicker inside the kiln. You don't have to pin each corner, and they have generally 3 thermocouples. So every zone has its own thermocouple, and so when you're doing complicated firings, that might give you a little bit more control from bottom to top and a little more balance inside the kiln. All right, again, this is an amazing kiln. It does everything you could ever want, and maybe a little more precise on those tricky firings. All right, then we come down here. These are cone art kilns, and they are built to be here for 700 years. Again, they are similar to L&L in that you are not pinning the elements in. They are just pressure fit into chambers, but they go into a soft brick chamber, whereas the L&L kilns go into a ceramic chamber. And these guys, one really cool thing about them is they have a metal plate on the bottom of these things, whereas other kilns are soft brick bottoms. At the very base of this, it's metal plate. So you could slide this thing across the floor and be fine, and the soft brick doesn't seem to crack anywhere near as fast in these kilns as with others. Their price point's a little bit higher, but again, they're a great everyday use kiln. Very efficient, and they're all using Bartlett controllers. It might just be a slightly different interface right there. So depending on what you're looking for, super durability or very user-friendly or very technically balanced at higher temperatures, these 3 companies have got it. And then we're going to go downstairs and show you a couple of Olympic kilns. With these kilns, you guys, most of them are using that Bartlett controller. This Olympic kiln obviously has the same that most of our electric kilns have, except this new Scott has the new iPad basically controller. And so it's just a touchscreen. It works just like, you know, your Kindle or your iPad or anything else. It's very sweet. And so if you've got questions about kilns, call us anytime. We like to educate you on why you would choose one over the other and make sure that you are getting the perfect kiln for your home studio or for your school. All right, so thanks for watching and hope this helps. So let's talk about wheels now and how to make a decision when purchasing or understanding how you're going to use your own potter's wheel. We at the shop have a lot of Brent wheels, and there's specific reasons for that. We have a huge amount of students, and we expect them to clean every single time they sit at the wheel. So we sell a lot of CXCs, and we use a lot of Brent CXCs because they have a solid removable splash pan, which makes it easy to clean for our students, and these guys have a heavier horsepower, and so they're almost indestructible. We've had several of these wheels for 20 years and they're still going. And all of the companies that we sell are great companies to work with, but we've always had a great relationship with Amoco Brent. They're wonderful people, just like all of the people who we work with at Laguna and Scut and Shimpo. So come on over here and let's look at some Scut wheels. These guys have been revamped, and so they've got the beautiful heavy-duty cast splash pan here. And with these, the wheel head takes off. You keep these clean and spray a little release spray on these every once in a while when you're cleaning to make sure that they pop off easily each time, but that's how you get a good clean on these splash pans. And these are ridiculously durable, just like the Brents. And the cool thing about these, they come in different horsepowers, but the SSX Classic motor, it is so smooth on acceleration and deceleration with these wheels. That's one thing that I really like about them as far as a professional setting. The Brents have a different feel to them, so you want to test them out if you can, and you can always do that at our shop. But these guys are super strong. Now, if you go with, instead of the Classic, the Legend, which we have over here, then you're talking about a removable splash pan. So this wheel head comes off just the same, and then this whole section comes off, and you can take that to a sink and clean it. And that's a really nice option for people who want to deal with this at a sink instead of in place. And then we've also got Pacificas in stock, and the Laguna Pacifica GT 400, it's a lower horsepower wheel, but it's got 4 bands on its belt drive, and so it produces a little bit more power up at the wheel head. And these are ridiculously sturdy as well. They come in all these different price ranges, and so you can check what fits your budget, but also how you're going to use the wheel. With something like this that has a lower horsepower, I might not want to throw a 50-pound platter on this because the torque when you get out to the rim is pretty intense and can stop the wheel. But this thing could handle a 4-foot tall vase on there that's a little bit more narrow, so you don't have the torque when you're grabbing the rim. So these things do amazing amounts of weight across the board. The Shimpos that we have, the VL Lite is awesome because we do traveling shows sometimes, and we want to take a wheel and put it in the back of our car. These are harder to lift, and that light you can pop in by yourself without injuring your back. And so that's a fun one. And the Whisper, super quiet drive. And so with any of these, you can't go wrong. But if you're a potter who's not working with heavier weights, you can go with the lower cost, lower horsepower wheels. And those who are using these things every day and taking them up to that 30 and 40 pound range, you might want the more robust Scuts and CXCs. All right, so hopefully that helps out. And keep in mind, even though these have a higher price tag, these things hold their value. If you look for used wheels, they're still going to be above $1,000, a lot of these with the higher horsepower. So they just don't lose their value very long. And so come on in, try them out. We'd love to answer any of your questions, and get out there and make some pots.